Thank you for joining us, Ms. Martinez Ferrada.
Well, thank you for having me.
It's been 100 days. What about this job that surprised you so far?
Well, I was a city councilor in 2005, and that was the first year actually that we elected mayors of boroughs, if you remember that. It's been almost more than 20 years now. And I think what surprised me the most is how it is complicated to govern the city, the complexity of center and boroughs, and making sure that we're giving the same services to all citizens everywhere. I think people don't understand the complexity of it, and I think that's one of the things that I knew. But seeing it for myself, it's it is one of the cities the most complex to govern.
You have begun all the initiatives that you promised to do in the first 100 days. Mm-hmm. But it's one thing to launch projects, it's another to actually see the results. So when do you think Montrealers will begin to see the results of your promises?
Well, one of the things that I want them to see very quickly is the way that we'll be managing encampments in Montreal. I think that's one of the things that we see it every day. I come through Notre Dame every single day, and I think that's one of the things I want to see this summer change, and that the citizens can, concretely see a difference. And of course, it's going to take some time for them to see the difference in terms of potholes, snow removal, getting the city clean, getting, garbage being picked up properly. So there's a lot of things in terms of services to citizens that it's going to take some time for them to see the difference, but it is something that will be part of one of our priorities to make sure that we're giving more services to citizens, and equally in terms of quality of service to all in every borough.
There have been reports that say that there is more housing being built in Montreal, but people are also saying that the housing being built is not necessarily affordable housing. And of course, developers aren't going to build unless there's a return on their investment. How can you create more affordable housing without raising taxes?
Well, I mean, the city of Montreal has bought lands and buildings in the past few years. We haven't done much with it. We need to be a financial partner for housing in a way that we haven't done it really in the past. We've put the burden on the private sector, we put the burden on nonprofit organizations. Now what I'm saying is that we have to do things differently. We have to try something else. And Montreal has to be a financial partner for the nonprofit to be able to be partner with sometimes the private sector also to make sure that we're constructing more social and affordable housing. Now, the social housing, it's not my whole responsibility as a city. It's a partnership with the government of Quebec, because the social net of the affordable and the social housing comes from programs that are supported by the government of Quebec. So this is something that we need to do with them also. But I think that the new approach that we're putting in place will be one of the things that we'll be doing differently in the next few months.
I want to ask you about safety now, because people are still saying that they don't feel safe on the streets of Montreal. They say they feel threatened by the people who live on the streets. So how can you make people feel safer while at the same time respecting the needs of the homeless?
Well, you will have to do both. We have to acknowledge that the homelessness crisis has come to a point where people, who were supported of our citizens in need, now seem very unheard around their own needs in terms of security and cohabitation with encampments. One of the examples. So we need to make sure that the protocol that we presented today, at the heart of that is that cohabitation that has to be respectful for everyone, especially the people living in encampments, but the people also that are the neighbors of the encampments. So it's at the heart of our protocol. Security will be an issue that we need to address, working with social communities or community organizations to address the need of having a better support to make sure that cohabitation exists, and also making sure that we have more services across the city, because we can't concentrate the whole homelessness issue to some neighborhoods and not making sure that we are collectively giving what homelessness need everywhere in every borough.
Overall, you've said that you want to restore Montreal's ambition. You want to give Montreal new life. What do you think is stopping this from happening? What is the greatest barrier to that?
I think it's services to basic services. If you can't clear the potholes, if you can't manage your waste efficiently, if you can't pick up your recycling bins, if you can't make sure that the city is clean and addressing the homelessness issue in a way that people will feel more safe in the city, it's difficult for them to be very open to new projects and ambition and big projects in Montreal. So we need to make sure that we are addressing that so we have the trust of citizens that we're putting the money where it's the basics need of a city that needs to give services, but also making sure that they are receptive to then bigger projects.
So from what I understand, yeah. So from what I understand,
the capacity to dream and have ambition.
So from what I understand, though, and I understand all that, but you've also said these things are all going to take time. So I guess overall the message is then you're asking Montrealers to be patient?
I'm asking Montrealers to be patient in the way that we need to address the basic needs of the city and also work at the same time on ambition and projects that eventually will be able to be a city that welcomes big events, be a city that can, have big dreams and compete with international cities. But right now, we need to address the homelessness. We need to get our things straight. Like we say, get your home fixed before you get visited in your home, and that's what I want to do in the next few months, making sure that we are addressing that so we can get back the confidence of our citizens that we're taking care of the business and the basic services of a city.
Okay, thank you very much for taking time to speak to us today, Ms. Ferrada, Martinez Ferrada.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me today.